I love these old computers. Calippert is a 3D artist constructing a sci-fi retro future narrative, enlivened by nostalgia. But is this world building more informed by the retro or the future? By looking forward or looking back to the past? Well, in order to understand a little more of the creative spirit behind this work, take a listen to my Q&A with Calippert. Okay, so what got you interested in environmental design and 3D?
I actually was a huge fan of Corridor Crew, and they do this series where they react to VFX and CGI, and I found that really interesting. And I always thought, oh, that's cool. That's a cool thing I would totally want to do, but I think it's like I can't have access to it. It's for a certain league of people who have access to all these things. And then, as I was watching, I realized they kept talking about this thing called Blender and how it's free. And Peter France would use it, and Sam would use it, and they would use it. And I was like, oh, and I kind of heard of it, and I was like, oh, I should check it out. I was like, wow, it really is free. Why don't I just learn it? So it was really them who inspired me to just try it. Just give it a shot, and then I fell in love with it. I started 2 years ago, and yeah, I love it. It allows me to tell stories in a way that I've always wanted to do. I started with drawing and stuff like that, so yeah.
Okay, what's your take on liminal space, and specifically what it might say about people's relationship with the internet?
My take on liminal space is that people really have nostalgia. Like, nostalgia is a huge part of people's lives, and I think liminal spaces kind of plays into that childhood nostalgia where you're kind of just sort of aware and remembering what's going on, but you don't really know what's going on because you're a kid, and so you're looking around the space and you're more aware of your surroundings as a kid. I feel like in a certain way, and I think liminal spaces taps into that section of our brain. I think that obviously the internet has allowed it to spread a lot faster than it would normally, and it allowed people to be able to how connect with each other on how they were feeling when looking at certain spaces or pictures, and share their feelings with a large group of people, so it became this collective nostalgia, this collective thing. So I think that's really cool. That's my take on liminal space. And I wouldn't consider myself a liminal space artist, but I do find it an interesting thing.
How would you describe Dreamcore, and what do you think that aesthetic is communicating?
So I think of Dreamcore as, again, it's playing on that nostalgic period of your life that taps into childhood memories. And I would say that Dreamcore is also a place like that paired with a place that you would visit in your dreams, but like happy dreams, where it kind of is surreal. It's very surreal. It doesn't quite make sense, but it's still happy and comforting. And something might be kind of off, but it's generally a positive but mysterious thing. And I think what Dreamcore is trying to say is just it's a longing for a simpler time, a more optimistic and exploratory explorative time is what I would say Dreamcore is about.
Okay, with all the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that AI is generating for creatives and artists, what is it that keeps you creating?
Personally, for me, AI doesn't scare me. It isn't a threat to me. I will create whether there's AI or not because I just enjoy the process of creating. That's always a thing that I've enjoyed. I think that's a very important feature of humanity is that we're able to create things and that we're able to express ourselves through the things that we create. So for me, I'm just naturally that way. There's no threat. I'm not worried. Nothing like that. I don't I don't see like it's not related to money for me whether or not I create, whether or not I do art. So, yeah, what keeps me creating is it's in my soul.
Do you have a philosophy or set of guiding principles that helps you use social media?
And I would say yes, I do. I think it's important to be kind. It's important to think critically, and it's important to consider intent when engaging with things on social media. What is this person trying to say? What is their motive? Why are they making this content? Things like that. It's important. Media literacy is important, and so yeah. So kindness, critical thinking, things like that is important.
What do you imagine our relationship with art and social media will look like in 10 to 20 years' time?
That's an interesting question. And I didn't know what to say to it originally because I think that it's hard to predict stuff like that. Um, I think that a lot of art will be. I don't know if it'll change much. I think we have the kind of basic categories of art, and I think that'll stay the same. Abstract, not impression, abstract, and realism, and commentary, and I don't think any of that'll change. I just think what we might be commentating on or abstracting might be different because we'll have different things to pull from. So, and social media, I think it'll be. Is it bad to say that I think it'll be pretty much the same? I mean, it's already pretty crazy. There's a bunch of people doing their thing, and maybe it'll be less free. Maybe we'll have less freedoms, but I don't know.
Okay, bonus question. Can you give me some insight why we love this old legacy computer hardware kind of aesthetic?
Okay, and your bonus question is about old computers. I love old tech. I love old computers. I just always have, and I always will, because I didn't grow up with this stuff. I was born in 2002, and I grew up with some of the end of like Windows. I think like Windows uh, XP is the first Windows I had, but I just love old tech, even not just computers. Like, I just really like old machines and seeing how they were geniuses about how things worked mechanically and uh, electronically back then, and just they had so much less than we have now. It's just so cool to me. So you were asking, like, why do we like that so much? That's why I like it. I don't know why you like it, but I like it because I wasn't exposed to it, and I just find I'm a mechanical engineering major in school. I just really like machines. I like learning about how things work, the intricacies. I like breaking it apart. I just really like that. As far as why other people might like the aesthetic, I think it stems a lot from nostalgia. Like, if you grew up with it, like a lot of things are nostalgia based, which is something I don't personally relate to as much because I don't feel like nostalgia is something I experience very often. I'm very future forward thinking, um, not past reveling, if that makes sense. So yeah, I love old computers. They look really cool. And I just think it goes into like some retro futuristic territory. It's kind of like your video about Fruitiger era, like the future we were promised. I think it taps into that a little bit too. So yeah.
Okay, most importantly, where and how can people support you?
They can support me on YouTube at Calippert with one L and two P's, and on Instagram at Calippert with two L's and two P's. And they can watch my short films and support the progress and the journey and me working on them because that's my goal, is to be an indie filmmaker and tell stories, even if I'm bad at it first.
So, a huge thank you to Calippert. I take great comfort in knowing that there are other creators who share the sentiment that AI can never replace that desire we have to create, to ultimately tell stories.